What do you think? How long should it take to sell a property right now, let's say here in Las Vegas, in the current market?
I think if you have the property listed at an appropriate price and it's in great, I mean, it's, the perfect listing. The perfect listing at a reasonable price.
Vacant, it should be vacant.
Definitely vacant.
So let's give some tips to a seller who wants to list his property on the market.
Okay.
Tip number 1, make sure it's vacant.
Yeah. Vacancy matters, guys, a lot.
Correct.
So make sure it's vacant. Make sure it's priced appropriately. The condition does have to be in 2025.
Yes.
Pristine. We look at the market every single day.
Nobody wants to put money out of their pocket to renovate the property. So yeah.
Exactly. So vacant, pristine, reasonably priced. And even with those 3 things, and you need to be communicative. That's always important.
Correct.
So that's the 4 things. And even with the perfect criteria, I would say 35 to 45 days on average.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
To be honest, on our properties right now, which they're completely renovated from A to Z, new flooring, new kitchens, new showers, landscaping, paint in and out, it takes us about like 45 days to sell a property right now.
Yeah.
At the current
Sounds
market.
about right.
Yes. Which is a fully renovated.
Yeah, fully renovated.
Fully renovated.
Now, these are properties that during 2020, exactly. In 2020, these same properties would have sold in 10 to 15 days.
Yes.
Like, that's the difference.
Even in 1 to 2 days, to be honest.
Yeah, 1 to 2 days, yeah.
So
100%.
if a seller has a property that is not completely renovated, they're stuck. They cannot list the property at the market value if their property is not renovated.
Yeah.
They just cannot do it. They're just going to be sitting for 6 to 9 months right now.
We got a lead today, and the property is perfect. It looks beautiful, actually. And I don't say that about a lot of properties. It's beautiful. The one thing wrong with the property is that they have it's a nice size, but it's a relatively small hole in the shower, right where their handle is. So everyone who's walked the property, they're extremely happy when they see it. And then when they get to the bathroom, they're like, oh, no. Because either it's going to be, they estimated $6,000. I think it's going to be more. We would have to actually look at it. But when people see that, it makes no sense because that neighborhood is hot right now too. So they have so many options. They're within 1 minute of, why would they take the one with a giant hole in the wall, even though it's beautiful?
And they don't know what exactly is behind the wall because they are not contractors, right?
Exactly.
So maybe there is a leak, maybe there is a huge problem with the plumbing. So why would somebody buy it and take the risk to fix it? And the list price is what? Is market value. It's not even
it's over market value.
It's even over market value. Wow.
Yeah.
Over good chances to sell it, right?
Yeah, it's funny because they might end up being a great client for the equity protection program. Okay. This is a real-time client, guys.
Okay.
So they may be a good client for that, but we're going to find out when I talk to them again.
Let's do it.
But, for them, like I said, their house is perfect. Flooring looks good. Cabinets, I mean, it really is good. But it doesn't matter. And so their house has been sitting now, I think it just hit the 47th day.
Yeah.
And they're getting into that desperate mode, which is why they're reaching out to investors now.
Okay.
So, yeah, your property has to hit all 4 categories perfectly to sell within that 30 to 45 day range.
Yes. And maybe they should talk with more than one agent and not to go just with the friend agent or the family agent.
So
maybe
funny you mentioned that.
Maybe they should talk about 3 to 4 agents and see what they say, and maybe to talk with one investment firm like us or somebody else, and then they can do the compare between the options, because we can offer 4 or 5 options that the traditional way cannot actually. Nobody can offer this. So, yeah,
100%. I totally agree with that. If I'm the first person you talk to, I kind of get a little worried, right? And so I love when I'm speaking with someone and they tell me that all summer they've been having investors and agents come in and out of the house, in and out of the house. Okay, you know what? Since December, walk me through everything that's happened. I just did this yesterday. Walk me through everything that's happened. Tell me every scenario. They told me every scenario. Okay, now you guys know what the reality is. You just said it. This is the reality. This is why these 2 solutions are the absolute best. Yep. So it's not even that I convinced them to do something. They educated themselves through anecdotal experience and looking back on it. And when they look back on it, obviously things make sense in retrospect, right?
Yep.
So
So
one thing.
maybe one thing that we want to talk about is, what are you looking when you making a cash offer to a seller?
What am I looking for?
Yes. Well, when somebody contact you, hey, give me a cash offer on my property, right? What do you do? Because let's break it
Okay.
down so the seller can understand, hey, there is no lowball here. There is data behind the cash offer.
So firstly, I want to know the seller situation for one.
Why do you want to know his situation?
Well, because I
No,
need
the
to
reason
know.
why I'm asking you, because sellers might, how many times a seller, no, just give me a cash offer, just give me a price, right? No, but we need to know the situation and
Yeah.
explain why.
Well, because we don't know what will actually work for you until we actually learn about you.
Correct.
We don't know if you're moving to Florida. We don't know if you're moving to Thailand. We don't know if you want to stay in the house. We don't know anything.
And we don't know when you want to sell it.
Exactly.
And maybe we can come up with a better solution than just a cash offer.
Exactly. So we have to have that conversation. We have to learn about you. Then we have to learn about the condition. If we don't know the condition, there's no way. We're just making Zillow offers at that point.
Correct.
So we have to know the condition.
So how you back it up with the data? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do?
No, great question. So we use I would say a combination, but it's mostly MLS because that's where you're going to get the most raw data,
Yes.
you know? And so when we're looking at a property, look, I say it like this. When people comp properties, what they'll do is take one in a different neighborhood. And I have a rule. If you drive to a comp and it feels like you're driving pretty far, it's not a comp. If it takes more than 7 minutes to get to that comp, it's not a comp.
Correct.
It should be within 1 mile.
Within 1 mile, 6 months, you can go back only 6 months. Don't go, last year somebody sold next to me for this and this much. Yeah, but it was last year.
100%.
Yeah.
6-month comps are definitely ideal because values and just things change within a year. Real estate, I know it looks steady if you're not looking at the data, but it's actually really volatile. Things change quite a bit, actually. And this is one of those industries that is heavily affected by the news. And so if we start to have tariff risk, right? Those tariffs on Canada didn't hit yet, guys. Why did building materials go up? Why did renovation costs go up?
We're already paying more, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It didn't hit yet. The tariffs are not there.
Yes.
They were just threats. So we're very driven by the news.
Oh, so let's talk about something that probably just investors and maybe agents even know this term, but we use it every day. But the sellers, they have no idea what we're talking about, which is ARV, after repair value. So the way that we comp a property, we want to see what's the potential of the property if we're going to bring more value to the property, right? So most of the sellers, they have as-is condition, meaning it's livable but outdated, right? When we look at the property, we look, okay, what's the potential maximum value that this property can be worth if we're going to change the flooring, right? Make a new kitchen, new showers, new paint, add any features that we can, what the maximum value potentially we can sell it for. So once we know this value, right, we can know what offer we can actually give to the seller. Because we know, for example, this property will cost us $100K in renovation.
Yes.
Closing costs will cost us about 2%.
Yes.
That's how we come up with a cash offer.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So it's not just throwing numbers.
Yes, I would say it's more of a reductionist approach, meaning like you reverse engineer it. And so once you have that top line number that you can go for, everything else becomes clear.
Yeah.
And once again, I know it sounds like we're just shitting on agents. We're not, but this is what they do. They just engineer, meaning they look at where it is now and extrapolate out with not backed by data. They extrapolate out and say, oh, we can sell it for this much. We can do it for this much. That's not objective. That is what you call subjective.
Many times we see agents, when they do comparable, they compare the subject property to a completely renovated property.
Exactly.
Because it's within 1 mile, 6 months time.
Exactly.
the same criteria, but one is completely renovated and the subject property is livable condition.
Yeah.
But the agents and the sellers, they don't understand that to bring the subject property to this condition, it's $100K just in renovations.
Yes.
But what
Yes.
about the work around the renovation as well?
Yeah. And so when they tell you, it's a great point. And when they tell you that it's a good comp, it is. They're not lying to you. It's a great comp. They're just using the comp wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And
So they're using basically the ARV comp to with the property that is
as
is condition, outdated.
and it's the worst way to do it.
Yes.
You know.
And basically they're selling a dream to the seller that they can sell it in this price
Yeah.
or 10K below.
Yes.
This is completely renovated, so we're gonna reduce 10K and we're gonna sell yours. Don't worry, right?
And you know, it's funny. I don't even think ARVs are discussed.
Yes.
You know, now that I'm thinking through that, I don't think ARVs are really discussed. Even on the investing side, investors try not to tell sellers their ARV.
Correct.
I tell them every time because it's a way to make the deal make sense.
Yes.
Agents, they're not
Because
gonna tell
once the seller understand how we work,
yeah,
it makes more sense to them and they can understand the price
Mhm.
way better.
exactly.
And it makes a lot of sense to them, our price.
Yes. I mean, you know what? It's so
Stop
funny.
saying we're lowballing. We're not.
Yes. And oh man, that's another just a great point. Just because
Literally, we can talk and argue with any seller, any agent, and to show how we are not lowballing nobody. That's crazy, right?
and they can't they use if they're mad, right? Once you justify it, like I said earlier, everything can be justified. Once you justify it, if they're mad, they're just crazy at that point. They usually end up very calm, telling you they understand.
Yeah.
Now, they still have the choice and say, but I can't do it though. I get it. But at least you understand.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important for me because if they call us 6 months later, I don't want them to tell me they want the same thing.
It's not gonna be the same.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same.
Yes.
It's going to be very different. But either way, it's not going to be pie in the sky. And so if I talk to them 6 months again, at least they're going to remember the education I gave them. So when they approach me with that in mind. Because
That's
I'm not
good.
trying to lowball you. We've just been objective here. No
Correct.
subjectiveness, just subjective.
Correct.